we looked at the hierarchy of our organization from this cybersecurity point of view. So we said there was governance, there was senior management, then there was senior management. Then there's management, then there is what? Operations. These are the people that look at the long-term goal. And then we have tactics and operations. Operations is the everyday. So the governance would interface with regulators, all the HIPAA, HITRUST, SOC. These are the people that ensure that the conditions and compliance are met before they even got the license to be able to operate and to be able to get contract from American government. And then these are the people that will work with governance. People at the governance will be people at the CEO level, the Elon Musk and all of the big guys when they say they are, okay. And then the senior management will take that high level requirement and break that down into what the organizations can relate with. And then management will supervise the implementation of those requirements. And these operations guys are the guys that ultimately do the work, the keyboard work of implementing all of the rules that we're talking about here that ensure that this business objective is met. Okay, why did I bring this up? Now, from this high-level business objective, the senior management will draw up the rules at what we call strategist level. So they draw up the strategies. And then management will draw up the rules at the level of policy. What will guide them? Are they just coming from their brain? All of this will be guided by the cybersecurity framework that we are following. For example, in this case, we are downloading and following every word of the HIPAA framework that says if you want to set up this company, you must ensure that you have 3 servers. One of the 3 servers must be, all 3 servers must run in multiple availabilities. All of these details, they are gotten from the frameworks. So it is from this policy now that the management will draw up what we call standards and everyday operations that you, the operator here, maybe like you, the security engineer, would have to implement in order to meet this policy. Meanwhile, this policy was drawn from this strategy, and this strategy was done from this cybersecurity framework regulations. So the rule came all the way from there and then became policies that you now implement. So there is a policy that you go to say, the organization says, how do I know what to, who said the rule that I am implementing here? I got it from the system policy, the organization's policy. Policy came from strategy came from it, if that makes sense. So the things that I'm doing here, they're already in the form of document. And the document is saying, I must do this, I must do this, I must do this, I must do this for this organization and everything we're implementing at the operations layer to remain in compliance with the laws, legal, cybersecurity, otherwise that are governing our trade. So that is how the rules are set. That is how the rules are. And these are the documents that I work with at this level. Not from my head. Yeah, you got that. Okay. All right. Yeah. So for the second part, about we should have time to sleep now. We cannot just be there monitoring everything that is happening and defending. So what happens is the technical guys, that is beyond just security now. The technical guys, some of them are doing DevOps now, you're in class, some of them are doing app development, some of them are operations. So what they do is they set up again, following the same security, they set up servers. For example, they can set up your web server and then your application server and then your database. These are the 3 things that make your application. And then to be such that this is Amazon.com, not AWS. And then it will be set that once traffic coming to this network exceeds, is such that 70% of the resources of the CPU of this server is being utilized, then this server should automatically come up with another server so that the workload is not distributed between two servers. And when the traffic consumption, where we're expecting 50,000, we now have 100,000 people shopping, then automatically by itself, while I'm sleeping, another server should simply come up. So that where I should have had only one server running, by the time I wake up, I may now see that I have 5 servers running. Who set them up? It was automated as part of the policy too. It was automated. This kind of automation is what they call auto scaling in IT, auto scaling. All right. And then once the traffic has reduced again from the 5 million overnight to about 50, all of this will be, when you are scaling, when you're adding more servers, you see you are scaling out. When there is no longer traffic and you don't need the servers anymore and the servers are being deleted, you say you are scaling in. The ability to scale out and scale in by itself is called auto scale. So all of that is taken care of as part of the infrastructure setup for this application. And even the fact that we have a database here for high availability, it is a requirement, a very fundamental requirement, that we must at least back up this database, not just locally, but to some remote location, so that if an earthquake happens and this whole data center goes down, at least we still have our database to work with in a different, maybe we are working in a US East 1. This one should be backed up to Japan, one far end of the continent, or even the moon, or to Mars, somewhere else, so that we can continue in business. It's called business recovery plan. Anyway, so the point is, all of this will be set to automatically respond to the actual situation according to environmental, market, and other demands. Again, meaning that this is in a stateful state, just like we said about being state. But this one is not your work. It's somebody else's work. Your own work is, after this guy has been set up, they will call you as the security guy and give you custody of this. You may not be the person who set this up. They give you custody. Say, okay, from now on, this machine is working. Who comes in? Which developer has access to what? And what they do when they come here, it is now up to you. So you secure and make sure that you control the identity management, the access management, identity and access management for this resource. But as far if it goes down, what happens and all of that, other people will take care of it. The technical team. And technical is very wide. A lot of departments are involved. Did I answer the second part of the question?
Yes, but thank you for that. What I was trying to now clarify is, for these ones, they are genuine traffic. But if we now have like maybe malicious, like I've forgotten the name we call it, where you have, how do I call it?
Okay, malware
traffic
coming in instead of
Yes,
regular.
malware coming instead of regular. How do you determine that, and how do you shut them down?
Yeah, that's what we are learning. At this level, that's what we are learning. For example, at the network layer, what are the different possible ways that malware can come in, so that you can forestall, you can proactively prevent, lock all of the ports, lock all of the doors that can make them come in. But if after you have done everything proactively and they still come in, which they will at some point, then you remember we called one team response team. Remember the response team?
No, I can't remember.
Okay. Incident handler.
Yes, incident monitoring, the incident response. So those are the people you now call to say, upon everything we are doing to protect our our network here, we've done that many times, so you know what that looks like, from the user all the way to our database. So all of this is being monitored centrally through your Splunk. We'll do Splunk today on next time. And then once you identify that, they have broken in, somebody, there's an abnormal network, there's a malware, then you click a button. We are going to do that practically. And then this is the rest. This is monitoring, but simply called detect. And then this is response. So you call these people. There's a button according to your training that you click, and then these people will come in and solve the issue that you detected here. That somebody, amongst all of this traffic coming in, one of them is malicious and is trying to gain unauthorized access to something, or it's trying to block, it's an enemy, a competitor that is trying to block customers from buying, and it's trying to use DDoS to. So once you detect any of those things that you have mentioned, you call these people. This is a department. This department is called SOC, Security Operations Center. They work in Security Operations Center, monitoring and then detecting and then clicking, sending email, doing some push button, and this is the response team that will now take over and solve that problem. So when it happens, the response team takes over and solve it. But when it does not happen and you are preventing it from happening, that is where you, as the security person, will do stuff at the IAM layer, you will do stuff at this layer, you will do stuff at the network layer. Everybody is working hard to just make sure this system is so fortified that that will never happen. So there's a team that is waiting for that to happen. And once it happens, they will swing into action and take. Again, there are different levels of things that can happen. Is it at the governance layer where it's not a technical thing, it's just something not meeting compliance and they just click a button? Or does it require that? Is it something that is so catastrophic that the whole data center was shut down and now you are out of business? And therefore we now need to. So there are 1,000 possible things that can happen. And for everything that can happen, there is a document called Disaster Recovery Plan that you go to see, if this happens, this is what I do. If the whole data shut down, the whole data center shut down, I should contact AWS and then call our infrastructure as code person, run the infrastructure as code, do this, and within 2 hours, all of our servers will be up again temporarily while we are working. All of those things are already stated in this document, the disaster recovery plan. And we drill periodically to say, let people create a scenario. That's it's part of the test that you carry out regularly, including your penetration. Let's create a scenario of there is a disaster now. How are we going? How do we know that this thing is working? The last time we tested it was 32 years ago when there was earthquake. But if anything happens now, how do we? So you keep drilling. Every department will be drilling to create a scenario of there is a disaster, and then they test. And then they update the record to say, it's working. But one day when it does happen, you are going to recover, to go back here and you'll be able to recover. All right. So those plans are in place. It's not just you. Your own work is mostly to prevent it from happening. Once it happens, there are other people in place that would respond. Unless you are part of that team, you don't really worry. The company is here.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir. Please, concerning the